Oh yeah. Wait, what was your favorite project?
My favorite projects, the scanning app that I made for the plant barcodes. That was one of the coolest things I ever did because it's still the coolest thing I ever did. I would say that it's like my coolest project I've done in my career. And it's just because I invented it from nothing. Like that's the really cool thing. Like what I said, like these two dudes were like, hey, we want to build a startup. We want to build an app. We want to put an app around this industry that's now legalizing. There's not a lot of apps there. Like we don't know what it can do, but we want to put one there. Because if you notice, like the world continues to get more and more saturated with apps, and we're basically just trying to create more convenience in the world. If there's something that you find to be annoying, there's probably an app for it. And if there's not, there should be. Okay. And that's the answer. That's like if you read the book How to Build a $1 Billion App, that's basically it. Find something that sucks and then find out that there's no good solution, build a solution. That's the thing. That's how you make the big ones. Right. And so they were so right. They were like, okay, there's no apps in this space. So I said, like, can you get me into some of these businesses so I can see like how things work? And literally what was going on was like they have to keep track of all of these plants, right? They have to keep track. The state needs to know where all the stuff's at. They were writing down like the barcodes, the last 6 digits of each barcode, and there's like 20,000, 30,000 barcodes, and they're writing down the last 6 digits on a clipboard, and then the clipboard would go up on the wall. And after I toured the 3rd place, I kept seeing the same thing, the clipboard on the wall, and I was like, clipboard, like pen and paper, like what are we talking about here? Like I'm building apps, what do you do using a pen for? And I said, like, what happens to the clipboard? And he said, oh, we have to log these moves in the computer. So a night shift comes in, they punch it into an Excel spreadsheet, email it to the boss. The boss comes in, and then he verifies it's all good, and then he sends it every day to the state so that they know that everything is like honest and legal and everything's good. And I was like, wait a minute, hold on. You write it, this guy types it, and then your boss emails it? All right, well, I'm gonna, 2 of you are probably gonna get fired because I'm about to automate your job real quick. I'm gonna build a scanning app that just that guy's gonna do all this stuff. And I mean, they didn't get fired. There's plenty of work, okay? But that's where it came from. And then I was building it out, right? And in the beginning, we were just like total experimenting. I was using the phone's camera to try and like read the barcodes, and I could do that. And then I got this RFID scanner, which it's like this radio signal that could pick up the barcode's little chip. And that was cool, but it wasn't very accurate. And so I was like struggling when I was building this to be like, what do I have a good idea. I just can't figure out the right implementation. And then one night, one night we went out for drinks. The guy, like the bouncer guy at the restaurant, he scanned my ID to make sure it wasn't fake, right? You know, make sure I was overage. And I was like, what's that? And he's like, oh, I'm sorry, man. This is what we do now. We have to scan them to make sure they're not like fake. And I was like, oh, I don't care, scan it. But what is that? And he like gives it to me, and I'm like, Honeywell Captuvo. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, that's an iPhone in there. Huh. And then I was a terrible friend that night with my friends that were there. All I did was I sat there and I Googled everything I could about that product. And then I bought the LinkedIn premium subscription. I went to everyone I could find that worked for Honeywell, which was a ton. And I kept trying to find people. And I was just messaging them. And I was like, if you know anything about these devices, I'd really like to get one. I'm building an app that I really need. And I got someone to overnight me that little scanner. And I Zuckerberged for a whole weekend. I didn't go out. I drank tons of coffee, and I took my old code that was like using the camera to find barcodes, and I used this new scanner and like Googled the whole way. I didn't know how to do it. They gave me all this documentation that was written by like some genius engineer. And I was like, I can't read this. So I Googled and I Stack Overflowed and I asked and I got it. And I did it like in a weekend. I made the thing scan the barcodes. It worked. And so I went into the 2 guys that I was working to build this company with. And I came in and I said, guys, you're going to hate me, but I got it, but you're not going to like it. I said, we're not a software company anymore. We're a hardware company. This is a scanning device with an iPhone in it. We're going to sell these. We're not going to sell the app. The app's included, but we're going to build the app and we're going to sell these things. and we're gonna need a lot more money now. Is basically what I said. And they fought me for about 2 weeks. And I said, I don't care. You're wrong. This is the innovation. This is how we will sell this. And so they eventually agreed. And then I pitched to the VC people I Shark Tanked the VC people of 4 months building this app, and then 2 months learning how to code in Mobile Makers. And then I'm in front of the conference room with a suit I bought 2 days before, and pitched it. And we got $500,000, and we all took a $60,000 salary, and we all started building the app. And it's an $8 million or $6 million app. You know, it depends on how you figure it, but it's like an $8 million app today. It's still a thing, still out there. So like, that's super cool. Like that. And like, I busted my butt. That was super hard. But what I really love about that one is that I didn't step into someone else's idea. I stepped into someone realizing there's a place for an app, but we need to figure out a good problem. And so I got to start at problem level. So the research was really cool. And then once it came to me, like, that's a good problem. We could solve that with an app. Then it just started, like, then this whole thing started. You know, like all of you probably have had a good app idea, right? You've all had one in your head. And if you haven't, it's going to come. The inspiration is going to come in this class. The really cool thing is, like, you get to make it. Like, you actually can make it. And even still to this day, I tend to be one of the only app developers that, like, my friends or family know. And it's so cool because everybody has an app idea, every single person, but you're the only one they know that can actually make it. And like, that's really cool. And you kind of feel like a rock star when you talk to people, because you say, oh, I build apps for a living. And they go, oh, I got to tell you my app idea. And you're like, tell me, what do you got? And it's just like fun to explore it with people. And it's just a conversation that they love because they can't have it with anybody else, but they can have it with you. It's cool. Sorry, I geek out about this stuff. I love this stuff. That was a long answer to your question, but I love this stuff.